It's October 2001. A man named Leonardo Notarbartolo, who is a seasoned career criminal, has an idea. What if I could pull off the biggest diamond heist in history? What tools would I need? How many people would be required? Who can I trust with such a task? The idea was still drifting, half-formed, like a thought you don't yet trust yourself with. Leonardo is not an ordinary man. He is already a seasoned professional criminal, not someone who stumbled into crime late in life. He grew up in Palermo and was involved in theft and burglary from a young age, especially targeting jewelry and high-value goods. This was his real training. In the 1990s, he ran a legitimate-looking jewelry business in Turin. This gave him credibility, contacts in the diamond world, and a perfect cover. The shop also helped him understand how diamonds move, how they're valued, and how dealers think. So the key thing to understand is this. Notarbartolo wasn't a mastermind who appeared overnight. He was a seasoned thief who slowly upgraded his scale, patience, and disguise, until a vault full of diamonds felt like a logical next step. He's in Antwerp, but where exactly? A cafe? A rented room? A street where diamonds sit behind glass pretending not to glitter? And what was the moment, really, the actual moment, when the heist stopped being a fantasy and started behaving like a plan? Was it boredom that day? Or ambition? Or that quieter, more dangerous feeling? Certainty? Did he notice the diamond center the way others might notice a locked door and keep walking? Or did he notice it the way a chess player notices the board already counting moves? And when he asked himself, is it possible? Was that the first question, or the last? Because that's how this story moves, not in gunshots or alarms but in questions. How secure is secure? How many people trust systems without understanding them? How long can patience outwork fear? Maybe the idea came to him not in a flash but in pieces. A camera here. A sensor there. A guard who yawns. A lock that boasts too much. And didn't he always believe that the perfect crime wasn't loud but invisible? Did he already imagine the silence of the vault after it was done? The kind of silence that sounds like triumph? And here's the strangest question of all. Was the heist ever about the diamonds? Or was it about proving that preparation can outthink power? Because by the time the world learned his name, the questions were already answered. Just not the ones people usually ask. And maybe that's the real beginning of the story, not the night of the vault, but the day he first asked himself a question. And didn't look away from the answer. The Antwerp diamond heist. One of the largest and most audacious robberies in modern history. It's a story filled with genius criminals, deep planning, and an intricate web of deception that spans a year of meticulous planning, all culminating in a heist so flawless it stunned the world. In 2003, a team of thieves managed to steal over $100 million worth of diamonds, gold, and other precious gems, pulling off a heist that was dubbed the heist of the century. But how did they manage to outsmart one of the most secure vaults in the world? And who were the masterminds behind this daring crime? In this extended narrative, we'll dive into the complex layers of the Antwerp diamond heist, unraveling the story from the criminal mastermind's perspective, exploring the incredible planning that led to the robbery, the players involved, the daring execution, and the aftermath of a heist that remains unsolved in many ways to this day. Antwerp, Belgium, is known as the diamond capital of the world, a place where the world's most valuable gems are cut, polished, and traded. The Antwerp Diamond Center is a massive complex at the heart of the city, filled with vaults, high-tech security systems, and bustling traders. It's where diamonds from South Africa, Russia, India, and other parts of the world arrive, are refined, and are then sold to the highest bidder. But despite its importance to the global economy, the Diamond Center, like any place of immense wealth, also attracted the attention of criminals. And not just any criminals, these were individuals with expertise, knowledge of the diamond trade, and a clear understanding of the security systems they were about to bypass. The building was a fortress, almost impervious to any ordinary criminal activity. The vault, where the diamonds were stored, had a 10-ton steel door and an advanced alarm system designed to trigger instantly if anything went wrong. So secure was the vault that for years, no one had dared to attempt a heist on the scale of what would happen in 2003. However, not all criminals are ordinary, and the Antwerp diamond heist would prove that to the world. At the center of the heist was Leonardo Notarbartolo, an Italian-born criminal with deep ties to the notorious Cosa Nostra crime syndicate. Notarbartolo wasn't just some petty thief, he was a skilled professional with an impressive track record of heists and burglaries across Europe. He had spent years honing his craft, learning the intricate details of security systems, building connections with insiders, and studying how to pull off the perfect crime. Born into a family with strong criminal ties, Notarbartolo had always been drawn to the world of high-stakes crime. His early life in Italy exposed him to the harsh realities of organized crime, where success was measured by the size of your heists and the amount of money you could make. By the time he reached adulthood, Notarbartolo had become an expert in high-level burglaries, targeting banks, jewelry shops, and wealthy individuals. In the late 1990s, Notarbartolo and his team started planning their greatest job yet, the Antwerp diamond heist. It was no coincidence that they set their sights on the Antwerp Diamond Center. Notarbartolo knew this was the crown jewel of European crime, a vault so secure that even the most skilled criminals had deemed it untouchable. However, Notarbartolo was different. He wasn't looking for a quick score, he was playing the long game. For him, this was about leaving a mark on the criminal world that no one would forget. And so he began plotting. His first step? Finding the right team. A heist of this magnitude couldn't be pulled off by a single mastermind alone. Notarbartolo needed a team of experts, each with a specific set of skills to carry out the job. Over the course of several months, he recruited a select group of individuals who would help him infiltrate the diamond vault. These were men with a history in crime. Some experienced in high-tech security breaches, others in organized crime and smuggling, and still others with insider knowledge of the Antwerp Diamond Center itself. The cleaner, a man known only as the cleaner, was an expert in security systems. He had previously worked as a technician for the company that serviced the alarm systems for the Antwerp Diamond Center. His intimate knowledge of the building's security was invaluable. The muscle. Every heist needs muscle, and for this job, Notarbartolo recruited a man with experience in protection and extraction. His job was simple: to ensure that any guards or witnesses didn't cause problems during the operation. He was there to create diversions and provide security. The insider. The team also included an individual with inside knowledge, an employee at the Antwerp Diamond Center who had access to the vault and knowledge of the daily operations. This person provided the team with vital information, such as when the vault was most vulnerable, how the security guards were rotated, and the layout of the building. The planner. Finally, Notarbartolo himself served as the planner. He mapped out every detail, coordinating the actions of the team, ensuring that everyone knew their role and timing. He meticulously planned every step, from the moment they entered the building to the moment they made their escape. The infiltration, months of planning. 4 months, the team conducted surveillance on the Antwerp Diamond Center. They took note of the security routines, the shift changes, the alarm systems, and even the tiniest of vulnerabilities. During this time, Notarbartolo's crew conducted small-scale operations to test the waters. These weren't heists but small distractions meant to throw off the police and security teams. They learned that the building's security was impressive, but not flawless. The vault, for instance, was locked with a high-tech combination lock, but there was a flaw. It required multiple sets of keys that were kept with different personnel across different locations. The system was meant to create redundancy, but it also created an opening. They also discovered that the vault's camera systems were occasionally disabled for maintenance, which allowed for a brief window of time when the cameras could be bypassed. And while the security guards were highly trained, they were still human, tired, and sometimes complacent. Notarbartolo's crew carefully studied the guards' routines, noting which were more predictable and which could be easily distracted. With this knowledge in hand, they began preparing for the final act, the actual heist. The night of the heist, February 15, 2003. On the night of February 15, 2003, everything was set. The crew arrived in Antwerp several hours before the heist. They had spent weeks setting up the logistics, the getaway vehicles, and the tools they would need. At around 3:30 a.m., under the cover of darkness, the operation began. The first step was to disable the alarm system. The cleaner, who knew the layout like the back of his hand, approached the alarm control room and disconnected the system. This took only a few minutes, but the crew knew that once the alarms were off, they would have a limited window before someone noticed. Next, they infiltrated the vault area. The vault was accessed via a narrow, heavily secured hallway, and the thieves knew that getting past the guards would be the most challenging part. But with precise timing, they managed to avoid detection by the night shift guards, who were engrossed in their rounds. With a few quiet, swift moves, the crew made it to the vault's outer doors. This was the moment of truth. They had spent months preparing, and now it all came down to this one crucial step: breaking into the vault. The Antwerp Diamond Center's vault was not just a metal door. It had multiple layers of security, including infrared sensors, a combination lock, and a 10-ton steel door. But the crew had insider knowledge, which proved critical. The cleaner's deep understanding of the vault's system allowed them to The cleaners' deep understanding of the vault's system allowed them to bypass the magnetic field sensors on the massive door. These sensors, designed to detect any unauthorized movement by creating an invisible electromagnetic grid, were neutralized with a precisely engineered device that mimicked the door's locked state, essentially fooling the system into believing nothing had changed. With the alarms silent and the outer defenses compromised, the team turned to the safe deposit boxes themselves. The vault housed 189 boxes, each secured with individual combination locks and protected by additional layers of redundancy. But the crew came prepared. Using custom-made tools, including a high-precision drill modified to be nearly silent and a set of master keys duplicated from insider intel, they began methodically opening the boxes one by one. They didn't waste time on every single one. They targeted the most valuable based on prior reconnaissance, cracking open 109 boxes in a matter of hours. Inside they found loose diamonds and sealed packets, rough stones, polished gems, gold bars, platinum, rare jewelry and cash, everything from small fortunes to life-changing hauls. They worked with surgical precision, using vacuum-sealed bags and padded containers to avoid damaging the goods or leaving unnecessary traces. No guns were drawn, no violence occurred. It was a clean, professional operation, the kind that separates legends from amateurs. By dawn on February 16, 2003, the team had vanished into the Antwerp streets. They left behind an eerily tidy scene, almost no signs of forced entry beyond the drilled boxes and a few discarded tools. The vault's 10-ton door was closed as if nothing had happened. When the first traders arrived that Monday morning, the discovery was gradual. A guard noticed the subtle disarray, then the empty boxes, and panic spread like wildfire through the diamond district. The haul was staggering. Estimates range from $100 million to over $500 million in value, though Notarbartolo would later claim in interviews that the real take was closer to $20 million, with much of the reported loss inflated for insurance purposes. Diamonds flooded the black market in the following months, but many stones were so unique and well documented that fencing them proved difficult. The thieves had anticipated this. They broke down larger pieces, recut some gems and laundered others through obscure channels. The investigation exploded immediately. Belgian police, Interpol and diamond industry experts descended on the scene. Surveillance footage from nearby streets captured glimpses of the suspects, but the team had used disguises and false identities masterfully. Notarbartolo, who had rented an office in the Diamond Center under his own name months earlier as part of the long con, posing as a legitimate diamond merchant, became the prime suspect almost by accident. A garbage bag dumped near his apartment contained remnants of the heist, wrappers from the diamond packets, a surveillance camera he'd planted to monitor guards, and other incriminating debris that a passerby had tipped off authorities about. Arrests followed in waves. Notarbartolo was picked up in Italy soon after, along with several associates from what investigators dubbed the School of Turin, a loose network of skilled thieves from Turin, Italy, known for jewelry crimes. Key members included the King of Keys, Pietro Tavano aka Speedy, expert lockpicker; the Genius, Elio Denorio, alarm and tech specialist; the Monster, Ferdinando Finato, the Heavy for diversions; and others who handled logistics and fencing. Trials dragged on for years. Notarbartolo received a 10-year sentence in 2005 for his role, though he maintained the heist was an inside insurance scam and that the crew took far less than reported. He served time, was paroled in 2009, and later cooperated on documentaries and articles, spinning his version of events. Most of the team served sentences of around 5 years, but remarkably, the vast majority of the stolen diamonds were never recovered. To this day, fragments of the loot occasionally surface on the gray market, a quiet reminder of the perfect crime that wasn't quite perfect. The Antwerp diamond heist remains one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries in terms of the full recovery. It exposed vulnerabilities in even the most fortified systems and elevated the School of Turin to criminal folklore. Security in the Diamond District was overhauled. More cameras, better redundancy, biometric upgrades, but the legend endures. A handful of men, armed with patience, insider knowledge and audacity, cracked what was thought unbreakable. And somewhere, perhaps, a few uncut stones still wait in hidden safes, their origins whispered only among those who pulled off the heist of the century.